Said if you can't win, wreck someone who can. And
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
It was that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Real Talk 447 with myself, Jeff Emig, and Ricky Carmichael. Sorry we missed you the first couple of rounds here, but we are definitely getting it started for 2021. Ricky, man, you've been down there in Houston. You've already knocked out 2 races, and a week hasn't even gone by. So what's the scene like down there at Energy Stadium?
Yeah, well, it's been great. A lot of people have been tuning in, and we've seen some great racing so far. But yeah, it's good to be down here, man. I'm just amazed. And we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. You and I have spoken about it, the depth of the field and just the talent level. As far as the protocol goes, similar to how Salt Lake City was at the end of the last season. But, everyone's just kind of staying in their pods, in their bubbles, trying to stop the spread and stay safe, but at the same time, work too. So it's good, man, but it's certainly been a lot of fun. I mean, what's your biggest takeaway of what you've seen so far from the racing?
Yeah, well, I was just sitting here looking at the points on the Supercross app. Probably the fact that the top 9 are only separated by 10 points in the 450 class, and if you go to Zach Osborne, it's 4 more points back. But that the racing is that tight, I think that Barcia winning the opening round again was, after 2 times in a row, it shouldn't be surprising, but I think it was, considering that he was on a new team with that, riding that gas bike. And I was watching some highlights here about 30 minutes ago, and Lee made the comment that, hey, Justin Barcia's on the gas. And it was like, no, literally, like he is, he's on the gas. So there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with that. Bam, bam, gas. I've seen my, I'm not sure if you got my Instagram post afterwards where I went Barcia, which
I saw that.
A play on the Brady Bunch, but yet he's won 3 in a row. So.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Is there anything that has surprised you as far as whether the lack of performance from someone or?
Yeah, Forkner.
Hey,
he was a guest on our show this last year. Really liked the kid, think a lot of him, and he's put himself in a hole once again. And this would be his 4th season, correct?
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, I'm with you. They're on that all new bike, and I didn't really realize just how many changes that new 250 that they're on has changed. They're on the hydraulic clutch. They got electric starts, and obviously.
So you're saying it's the bike?
No, but I'm just saying,
Okay.
He's not riding the same bike. So, is that the deal? But he's always been the fastest, it seems like. And this year he has yet to be the fastest in time qualifying practice. And I think it's an adjustment for him. How I saw him ride in the race for the opening round, I was like, man, that was a pretty solid effort, all things considered, and just how well Christian was riding. But then what we saw on Tuesday was definitely, I thought that those type of situations would have been erased.
They should be at this point. You had your first year where you were on your head as much as you were on the tires.
Yeah.
You won some races, you crashed out a bunch of races, but then eventually you have to work that out. And especially being a 4th year rider, you would think that some maturity and some focus, and I don't know what he's doing on a daily basis, weekly basis, or any of that, but that's maybe my biggest surprise, sort of disappointment. But there's been so many great storylines. All across the board. I think that's been pretty exciting. I know that it's pretty cool having Supercross again midweek. Like, you don't have to wait a week for it. Next week you will, but you're like, yeah, a couple days later there's another race. I love it.
Yeah, that midweek, I think I think it's an awesome opportunity for the sport to maybe reach some of the people that we normally aren't broadcasting to, or maybe pick up some new fans. I think it's a great opportunity that we all have to jump on, not just the people on the TV side, but people like yourself, me, promoting the sport the best that we can, and really take advantage of the time that we have on those Tuesday nights, Super Tuesdays, to show people just how awesome and competitive the sport is. And with this season, especially with the depth in the 450 class, it's a great time to pick up some new eyeballs for sure.
Well, speaking of eyeballs, I'm going to talk about our first sponsors. We have Fox Racing that backs us. Of course, also you have been with Fox Racing for decades now. You had a little hiatus when you had to leave because of the team sponsors on the pro circuit, but you've been with Fox Racing since the 90s. I endorsed Fox and Shift through the products and whatnot. So what do you make? I want to talk about like gear design, because I think that Adam Cianciarulo's gear the last 2 weeks has just been on fire. Thought?
Yeah, it's they're definitely, the design certainly is bringing it. I personally feel, and people are going to call us partial, but I always feel like they're on the cutting edge of design, performance on all of their gear, and certainly what we've seen Adam with the last couple of weeks has been popping for sure.
Oh, the helmet
doesn't surprise you. The boot, did you see, like, his boot combo is pretty sweet. Even even Lee, like, we were walking past him, they were kind of in the tunnel getting ready to go practice. He's like, dude, those boots are sick. So yeah, the
Lee?
boot combo.
If we can get him out on a bike, you can get him some gear, right?
I mean, he's I don't know if he's into riding that much.
Can he ride a motorcycle, you think? Have you ever asked him about it? I'm not sure I've ever asked him.
Yeah, I mean, he can ride, I guess.
Well, yeah, you can check all that stuff out at foxracing.com. I think the gear was super sick. Adam, I think is Adam Cianciarulo, who is really showcasing that gear these last 2 weeks. I keep picking him for the win, Ricky. Where am I going wrong here? What am I missing?
Well, I'm glad that you bring that up, Jeff, because if you're in the prediction business, this year is a bad year to be in the predicting business for the 450 class. Literally, I mean, the guy that got 10th on Tuesday could be on the podium.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night or for Saturday, and vice versa. The guys that were on the podium could easily be 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It's that close. So I was watching time qualifying practice, and I know you're zoomed in a lot on it, also watching the race day live coverage so you can get a gauge on your predictions. But at one stage before Zach Osborne went and threw down a really fast lap, dude, the top 18 riders were within 1 second.
Top 18. Normally,
the top 18.
If the top 10 are within 1 second, that's usually a really, really close field. And if you take it back, I'm going to pat you on the back here. If you go back to Ricky's days when either he was racing with Chad or James or the three of them might be 3 seconds a lap faster than wherever the cutoff was, whether it was third or fourth. So to put it into perspective, what Ricky's trying to say right now is you have 18 riders. Basically, everyone that's in the A practice, they're within a second. Yeah. And so then it becomes the start. It becomes a little bit of luck, all these other things. It becomes the mental focus that one has, the desire, Yeah.
And this brings me, and this kind of segues to a question that I have for you. So it's been pretty clear about the depth of the field and how close guys are in their times during qualifying practice, and quite frankly, the race as well. Is that a byproduct of just the other guys stepping up their craft, or is it because of the tracks? Let's hear it, because I'm honestly this is where I kind of remove myself a little bit, just because I don't feel like you're ever gonna appease anyone for the answer that you give them.
Dude, I'm not in the appeasing business these days. I don't answer to anybody, right?
Well, there's a few people that you answer to, but
no, the big guy.
Is it the track, dude? Tell me. What's your
super basic? You know how I feel about these like rhythm section things. I'm not like, I love the sand section and some of those like quirky parts of the track, like the sand, because it's changing, because it's moving. Look what happened in the sand last week when it, Chase Sexton is having a career ride and makes a mistake in the sand. So
but is that his fault? Was that his fault or the sand's fault?
Whose fault's it gonna be? Yeah.
Or was he going too fast because of the sand section?
He made a mistake, but the fact that it was changing and it moved around, and then you could, some guys were kind of like doubling, and then some guys were tripling out of the sand, right? I love it whenever the track. I love watching the best guys make mistakes, and I think we've seen that a lot this year, actually. But that being said, to back up a little bit and not just point fingers at the track being easy, I feel like that the if you take it back 20 years ago, you having the goat farm and your focus and your compound, and you kind of separated from everybody that way. Okay. Yeah. Now that program, no matter who the trainer is, there are a lot of these compounds and trainers and everybody that have the ability to get the work done, and so that fitness, the fitness thing, I think that playing field's leveled. And there's some guys that are going to be a little bit better and some guys that are a little bit off, but for the most part, I feel like that everybody's in a decent range. It's not like back in the days when you had some guys that could go turn a fast lap, but they ain't doing 20 laps. Like, I think all the guys put in the work. I think for the most part, even some of the top privateers, I think that their fitness is in a really good place, right? Also, the 450, the production or the performance of the bikes, I think I don't believe that there's that big a performance gap between what you would perceive as the best bike, then the best setup, I guess, also, and the worst setup. I don't think that there's any bikes out there that, let's say in that top 18, that their bikes are pieces of shit,
each guy, they could win on another brand. They're all that close.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that comes from, the tooling and manufacturing. Everything is just so much more precise. The aluminum chassis, in my opinion, have definitely flattened that curve and made it more equal. Because there's less movement, less flex, less wear and tear. The chassis hold up a lot better than the old steel chassis. But yeah, I'm with you. I just wanted to really get your opinion on that and what you thought. Like, if there was one thing that you would do to the track or tracks or bikes, what would it be to separate these guys?
So when the track is soft, they make these jumps like so. And as the night goes on and they roll them, the jumps become smaller. They get flattened out. It's just a natural, it's what they do. And from the beginning, from the get-go, I want to see everything steeper. I want to see there be more up and down. Right now, there's too much stuff. There's too much forward momentum. I want to see like obstacles where you can't just like blow through it and the bikes will land and do anything. How many times this weekend, Ricky? I'm not sure if you caught it. Maybe it was this weekend. No, it was the first race.
It's the first one where they were clipping that third one.
Well, where they were jumping into rhythm sections and not even like downsiding the rhythms. They would just jump into the face and just boom, boom, just like you wouldn't do that 25 years ago. You were timing stuff. Now the suspension and the chassis land stuff so good. The bikes, the ability that the riders have, they push through jumps and everything. And to me, there's just too much forward momentum. And I want to see there be obstacles where you have to go up and then you have to land it. You know, that's, I mean, you know,
but then what happens though?
maybe
Do
it's
you ever think there'll become a point will there ever become a point? And I want to hear your opinion on this. If you go making them steep, then you're forcing guys to jump gnarly stuff. Yes, the speeds might be slower, but if things are completely peaked and they clip, what? Yeah, like
Chase Sexton crashed in the sand in a turn. Okay. So now we don't make any more turns.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm fine.
It's racing. It's racing. When there's a gate drop and a finish line, and the purpose of what you're doing is to get to that finish line faster than the next guy, it's going to happen. You're pushing the limits of your body. You're pushing the limits of your mind. You're pushing the limits of the machine and the track. It's going to happen.
Well, inherently, right, when you hop on your motorcycle, you are taking a risk. And right. So here is my issue. No one is telling anyone that you have to go do this. It is by choice. It's personal choice. You know, like I go back to when I was racing James, and I referenced this to someone the other day. If you can remember, Jeff, you were calling the race on Atlanta Supercross. There was a finish line and then a 180 corner, like real flat, but there was two singles, like 2, 3, or 4 footers, and then a tabletop. And the backside of the tabletop was really steep. And James would come out of that corner and go all the way over, down, land on the backside of that tabletop. And dude, if you came up short, it was over. And he kept doing that. He would go all the way over the backside of that tabletop and then go on and triple in the corner. Or I think it was like triple double in the corner. And I remember saying to myself, if I wanted to win the race, I was going to have to do that. And I made the decision in my head that I wasn't willing to do that because I knew what the backside of that tabletop was like. And I knew if I didn't do it properly, it was going to come at a price.
Ricky, you watched some of my races from the 90s. Dude, I made that deal with myself almost every night. Almost every race, Henry or McGrath or somebody would go like jump something, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know, I don't feel like jumping.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is the speeds are certainly fast, and the track designs. You know, if you took our bikes from, let's say, 1998 and you put them on this same track, I mean, we're going to be considerably slower, you know. So it's not just all the tracks, it's the bikes also. And I hate it for the Dirtworks guys because, dude, it's not just the tracks, you know. It's a
bikes
combination.
are incredible. The bikes are incredible. And if you one thing that I think is that, yes, there were soft tracks and ruts and blah 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 in our days. The soft dirt's going to be rutted, but because look at the tires that are on the back of these bikes. Even the 250, 450, it doesn't matter. Dude, it's a super aggressive tire that in my racing days, you raced another 8 seasons or so. In the 90s, that would have been a mud tire. You wouldn't have ran that unless it was like sand or mud. That's the standard tire. It's like and so it tears the track up. That's why the tracks go to shit so quickly, is because there's so much power that's getting to the ground with these 4-strokes, whether it's a 250 or a 450, and the knobs are gnarly, so it just completely destroys the track, you know?
I go back, 100%, you're exactly right. It's taken a bigger bite out of the dirt. But going back to your point, and you're exactly right, about these riders riding in facilities, there's basically no more secrets. So everyone is much closer in speed because they're riding together all the time. They're doing the same things together. So that goes back to Is it the track why everyone is so close, or is it more along the lines of what you said, which you brought up that great point of, is it because so many people ride together? I personally think that's what it is. And you and I have talked about this, and our listeners and viewers, Jeff and I have talked about this for a while. What we believe is we are now seeing a crop of guys that have come up through the riding facilities.
Yeah.
And that's now you're seeing a byproduct of that, of where everyone does the same thing for the most part. Of course, there's some standout guys, but you guys can pick us apart in our theory on this, but I think everyone understands where Jeff and I's position is and what we're trying to say by that.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. We'll talk about our second sponsor here with ODI grips and handlebars. I believe it's the HEP Suzuki team. What's their title sponsor? Twisted Tea, right?
Twisted Tea.
So Hart Raft, Intig Nap, and Ansty. Ansty getting hurt a couple weeks ago, but so those guys are on ODI bars and grips. Are any of them running your bars? Do you know? Have you seen any RC4 bar bends?
Well, I sure hope so, because the performance level of those bars really force you to ride in a safe body position. How they are and the design of them, they're flatter. It just gets you in the attack position, if you will, and very safe position as well.
I didn't think I was going to like the RC4 bar bend because my ODI bend is called the Champ bend. And one day, just for shits and giggles, I decided I threw them on, and I actually really liked it. And I was like, damn it, RC actually developed a good product.
Well, it's kind of like the Emig Pro grip. I mean, I'm surprised. I don't know why the whole field don't run your grip,
dude. Are any of those guys running the Emig Pro?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look those guys up. I know we got a couple other guys that are out there in the 250 and 450. I'm gonna have to hit them up. See, I mean,
if you want that competitive edge,
right,
then I suggest that you run the Emig Pro.
If you like
locked
arm
on
pump,
grip.
keep running your other brands. If you don't want arm pump, go ahead and try the Emig Pro.
I mean, that is awesome. But yeah, so what do you think about Saturday's race? And I'm not going to ask you to predict, but what is one thing that you will be looking for, or that you're looking forward to seeing in that race? Like, you're like, hey man, I wonder if this guy's going to be able to do this. Like, what are you most looking forward to going into the third round?
Honestly, the Barsha Tomac thing. I was really disappointed last week. Barsha gets that bad start, kind of has a bad ride. Well, then you find out shifter was broke off, and he was basically stuck in first gear.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit ago
what lap?
when we were getting our COVID tests, and he says, dude, I was stuck in first gear. Basically 7 laps into the race, and they did 29 laps.
Yeah, because I'm like, wow, Ken went by him. I go, well, maybe Justin's just not going to be able to back this up. So I'm going to say, he blew a start. He was, he had led every lap up till the start of the main event, every lap of the season. So I want to see how he rebounds from this. I'm really pulling for him. I really am. As many ups and downs as he's had, as much bullshit as he's gone through in his career. Some of it he brought on himself. Don't get me wrong, but he's really a likable guy, and I just love what he's doing. I don't want it to be another the three-peat of the opening round, and then that's it. And then I think for Ken too. I think it's like Ken and AC. Osborne, I think these guys are thinking, I need to win, badly. I need to get a win, especially because Tomac got a win, and Tomac was really smart, had a good ride, couple of little favors right there, but you take them as they come. And so, the last thing you want is for Tomac to get any confidence and momentum going, right? So it's going to be all over the place, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I feel like we're going to see a little bit more after the 3 rounds in Indy. We'll have a little bit better feel of what
4 rounds, right? Isn't it 4 rounds in Indy?
No, it's just 3 rounds in Indy.
Isn't it Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday? Dude, are you
No.
sure? You even looked at
Indy's only 3 rounds.
Yeah, what am I thinking?
As my man Lee said, it's a triple treat in Indy.
It is at that. What was I thinking? Oh, I must have looked at something different. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
dude.
So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that's good stuff to look forward to, and I'm kind of in the same realm with you on that. I am hoping that Barsha is able to get back to where he was. It'll be interesting to see how he responds. And yeah,
let me ask you this: last year, when you guys had to hunker down in Salt Lake, and COVID thing was all new or fairly new at that point. Now it's a little bit different. Is everybody in a decent routine? Like, has everybody, adapted or like adjusted to what the protocols are? Because as I understand, like everybody kind of has to stay in their lane, stay in their pods. Like even certain teams, like team members, you got to enter the stadium in different places, and everyone kind of, as Feld got all that adjusted, right? Also.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a newer world for sure. Very similar to how it was in Salt Lake City. I think everyone has kind of gotten used to it. Everyone is being safe. I mean, dude, there's a lot on the line for everyone. First and foremost, not just, let's just say you and I, our safety, but someone else's safety.
Yeah.
If I was exposed and I got COVID and I passed it to someone else, they may react different than me. So, I mean, first and foremost, you can definitely see everyone is being safe and following the protocol, and they're being sensible about it. And Feld's done a great job with the protocol plan that's in place, and I've been very impressed by that. They're extremely organized, and man, it's like racing. You just adapting. You got to adapt to the situation and be mindful of others. So
yeah.
Hey, we don't like to talk like government politics on Real Talk 447. However, I think like that Bernie Sanders meme that's been going over, I thought it would have been pretty cool if he was sitting next to you right now.
Dude, hey, so my daughter Presley pulled up one on Instagram, and it was from the movie The Breakfast Club, and it had Bernie in the back, and Molly Ringwald had posted something, and it was like, hey, what's all the disruption in here or whatever, and then our guy's sitting in the back. But I mean, it's that time, right? There's people are, for the most part, people are still, locked down in places and staying inside. And so what do you expect, right? You get some creative apps and everything going where you can have a little bit of fun with it, So.
Hey, it's been pretty cool. Like what Marcus Lemoyne did, and then Barstool jumped on, like how much money they've raised for restaurants and stuff. Can you like, dude, it's just been pouring in, right?
Yeah, well, I was just looking. I'm gonna look it up right now.
I mean, we should probably, you look it up, and then we better end the conversation because we'll be down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, the Barstool Fund. I mean, if you're into donating, Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, has done something really cool. Let's see, a couple of days ago, they've raised almost $30 million for small businesses and restaurants and whatnot. And that's a really cool thing that you see in these times. Whenever there's an issue like a problem, the greatest entrepreneurs in the world, and why capitalism works so well, is because they will find a way to fix the problem. And this is probably part of what, brings everybody together in challenging times like this. He just said, okay, I'm tired of relying on the government or asking people to do different things. I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself. Hats off to him.
Yeah. So the meme, though, the Bernie meme, you won't you're going to like put it next to me or something like that when we cut this edit, or what?
Yeah, we could, right? Yeah, I don't know. We have to see who's going to do the edit on this one, but that would be super fun. So,
Well, dude, I'm glad that we're back. We're gonna be ripping off these couple here a week to all our listeners. Send
do
us
you hear that in the background? Can you hear that or no?
no,
Oh, okay.
I
Housekeeping
can't.
with the vacuum. Like, seriously?
No, I can't. I can't hear it. You must be doing pretty well if you can afford a housekeeper.
Oh yeah, crushing it.
There you
Crushing
oh.
it. That's our timer. That's 30 minutes.
Well,
so you don't want to throw out any predictions?
You know that.
You're the one that
I learned from you.
You love predictions.
I learned from you.
Yeah,
I don't make predictions.
That's right.
I give my analysis.
That's right. That's right. It took you a little more than 2 seasons to finally go, yeah, I don't do predictions. I do analysis.
Yeah, it's going to be, hey, either way, it's going to be fun. And I'm like you, I'm looking forward to how people respond. I mean, I think Kenny's going to have a good weekend based on the points lost. You know, he lost those 4 championship points. He took to social media to voice his displeasure on how it was handled and really tried to give his fans and people his perception and what he saw through his eyes and the challenges that he was faced with. So I think he's going to come out swinging as a point not that he has a point to prove, but maybe a little extra little kick he might have for this 3rd round. But I'm interested to see how Barsha is going to do if he can rebound also.
Yeah. You know, just it's been so competitive, especially in the 450 class. You got to think that everybody's fantasy leagues, whether you're playing Rocky Mountain or Pulp or Depos360.com fantasy leagues, dude, everybody's blown up. It's 2 races in and nobody knows nothing. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how this shakes out. I know a lot of disappointed people. They're like, dude, I didn't even get one right. You know,
yeah. My dad's in his like little local fantasy for the Supercrosses, and he's asking me like, who should I pick? And I'm like, dude, throw a dart at a wall, and whoever it lands on, you'll probably have a better chance of doing well by doing that than really trying to look deep into it and see who is going to win.
Yeah, because you could have picked Osborne. I would have picked Osborne, but then he makes a mistake, crashes out of it. Boom, there goes your top 5. You know, it's all over the place. So, hey, we're at that limit. So if you're not going to make any predictions, we'll just talk about our final sponsor, shiftmx.com. We don't have anybody specifically top Supercross stars in Shift, but if you haven't seen the new 2020 line for Shift MX, check it out on their Instagram and on shiftmx.com. It's pretty sick what the designers did. Of course, you got Josh Hansen, Jimmy Hill, and Colby Raha have been wearing the gear. There's some fantastic gear setups and designs. I actually just stopped by Fox on my way down here and grabbed a new box. I've got tons of new Fox hard goods and all new Shift gear. Is that
a new Fox flannel you got on?
No, this is old, dude. This is old.
Well, at least you're still getting stuff, so you're doing something right.
The Flannel Brothers, yeah, right? So, well, we'll wrap that up here. I'm going to get back on the bike next week. Have you been riding at all?
No.
No. Oh, well, yeah, you've been stuck in Houston. Are we going to
plan on riding. Maybe I might ride when I get back and do some riding. Mitch Payton was nice enough to give me a 450, Kawasaki 450. He did it all up thing. It's so fast.
Did he put that 450 engine in that 98 chassis with some gas forks again?
Nothing will ever be that good, dude.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I'll let you get back to it. I know you're super busy there studying up for this weekend's race. I appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, man. Always love it. We can't wait to hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast today, and we look forward to talking to you next week and downloading after the 3rd and final round here in Houston. I think it's going to be a good one for sure.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Once again, if you could support the people that support us with Fox Racing, Shift MX, ODIgrips.com. I promise you we make the best products in the world. And as always, we're going to send you away here with our buddy Andrew McKeague and the Andrew McKeague Band with This Old Life. Thanks for watching.
Yes.